Mia and Jake loved to play at the park. It was sunny and bright today. After playing frisbee, they walked past Mrs. Green's house. Mrs. Green had the prettiest garden on the street, but today something was wrong. The plants were drooping. The leaves were brown, the flowers were wilting. Mia and Jake were sad. They loved Mrs. Green's garden. It always made them happy.
We need to help.
But how?
Mia thought for a moment.
Let's ask Mrs. Green what's wrong.
Jake nodded. They walked up to Mrs. Green's door and rang the bell. Mrs. Green opened the door. She looked tired.
Hello, children.
My garden is not doing well. We came to see if we could help.
Mrs. Green smiled.
That's so kind of you, but I don't know what's wrong.
Mia and Jake went into the garden. They looked closely at the plants. Jake touched the soil.
It's really dry.
Mia felt the soil too.
You're right. Maybe the plants aren't getting enough water.
Mia and Jake thought hard. How could they get water to the plants? Mia spotted an empty watering can.
We can use this.
It's too slow. We need something faster.
Then Mia had an idea.
I know, we can use the hose.
Mia ran to her house and grabbed the garden hose. Jake helped her unwind it. They carefully watered all the dry spots in the garden. Mrs. Green watched them, smiling.
You are such good helpers.
Mia and Jake smiled back. They were happy to be helping Mrs. Green in her garden. The next day, Mia and Jake went back to Mrs. Green's garden. They were so excited to see the plants. The garden looked much better. The leaves were green again. The flowers were starting to bloom. Mrs. Green gave them each a big hug.
Thank you, you saved my garden.
Mia and Jake felt proud. They learned that working together can make a big difference. They also learned that helping others feels good. From that day on, Mia and Jake made sure to visit Mrs. Green and her garden every day. The garden was a reminder of their friendship and their good deed.